Hey guys, and welcome to this week's edition of our camper trailer build. We're out in the sun again, and we've got some mudguards. Don't they look good? This is my second set. The first set I bought, and it's really only the mudguards which is I've bought something and thought, not using it. The first that I bought were 305 wide, so the right width, but they were a half round aluminium. No, they were steel, and they just didn't look any good. So purchased these things. These still are 305 wide. I've got them bolted through the sidewall with half a dozen M10 bolts. They're stainless like most of the other stuff, and it's as solid as. So really happy with that. Had to cut these down. I had to cut that off the rear of the mudguard and that off the front of the mudguard, and it was a little bit of a design by eye moment, but we're legal and I think it should look quite good. They still need to be painted, they still need to come off when we put the cladding on the side. The cladding on the sides, I've ordered it, and what I have found, I was thinking it was going to be really cheap, but it's not as cheap as my first thought. The coloured aluminium composite sheet, there's two types. There's one that's guaranteed for 5 to 10 years and one that's guaranteed colour fast for 10 to 15 years. So I've splurged, I've gone for the 10 to 15 years, and we'll see how we go with it. But the advice to me was the other one doesn't have a UV coating on, so the trap's for the unwary. But anyway, that should be here shortly. The colour's a surprise, it's not over the top, but I think it'll look quite good. So that's ordered. What else is there? The shelf, I've done a shelf inside, really happy with it. I've bought some fitted luggage that's going to go under there, and it just hasn't turned up. Through Drifter Products in Gloucester, New South Wales. So it's a couple of 100 k's from me. They've got a really good name, but it was supposed to go into Australia Post. They gave me a tracking number, and that was a few days ago and nothing. So we'll see how we go over the next couple of days, fingers crossed. But I have made the shelf. I was waiting for it and I thought, no, I'll just make the damn thing. So I've allowed enough room. I've put a bit of a lip on the shelf. I've got two bags coming that are 450 millimeters wide, 200 deep and 160 high, and they've got a clear top. So they're two luggage bags, and I've got two toiletry bags, 200 by 160 by 45, I think. So they're all good quality canvas. They're a grey colour and should look quite nice. But yeah, I've done that shelf, really happy with how it's turned out. Again, I've bolted it through the sides. I've actually run a piece of the same material along the base of it to give it a bit of structural rigidity, and glued the front piece on. I've also glued a front edge on to this shelf up here, which makes it look a whole lot nicer too. Apart from that, I've fitted the 15 volt inlet for the 240 volt AC. I've got a void section, this triangular section that runs through the whole back of the van, and I'm trying to keep all the wires and plumbing in that section so you don't see it as much as possible. So that's at the side, about here on that side, the other side. It was like an elongated circle that got narrower at the bottom. Luckily there was a template that came with it, so drew that out, and then I found I had two hole saws, one larger and one smaller, that fitted perfectly. So by drilling those at different depths one at a time, it cut out, and I had to sand it a little bit, and it just slipped straight in. So that's roughly bolted in on the other side, but again, that has to come out when I put the cladding on the outside. But with all this stuff, you need the holes drilled and before you get the cladding on. And then when you put the cladding on, you're just going through the cladding and follow with a router and following the inside template. My downlights turned up. These were 20 bucks for 4 on eBay. They're an LED thing, and they're a satin LED. You can just bolt them or stick them to whatever surface. They go back to a plastic box and then to a cigarette lighter socket with a switch on the back. We'll just be using the lights. and maybe the junction box, but we'll see how we go. At this point I think I may only need 2 lights inside of those and maybe 2 reading lights, and I'll put the other 2 lights in the galley at the back. So that's what we've got with those, and we'll fit those as when we get to it. A lot to do yet, but I think you'll find it's coming along really good. We'll do a spin around and we'll see you next week. Bye guys.